Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon and this is Film Flare, where we discuss anything and everything that makes film and television great. So be sure to subscribe and let's talk about a great show. So we're already halfway through Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. 6 episodes is just way too short and I already need a lot more of these characters.
If I may.
No!
I've already made another video about my thoughts on the show's pilot episode specifically, but now let's talk about how everything in the show is stacking up so far now that we've hit the mid-season point. Now, the show's second episode gave us our first real look at our new Captain America, and he's just about as unlikable as expected. John Walker himself seems like a pretty good soldier. But we all know that there were a ton of good soldiers during World War II, and Steve Rogers was most notably not one of them. It wasn't his stats that made him Captain America, but rather his heart, which is something that John Walker has none of.
Do you know who I am?
And for those who didn't know Steve, I can understand why this guy was their choice. But considering how this show is about two of the people who knew Steve the best, John Walker sucks, and every scene he's in simply adds another layer as to why he'll never be able to fill Steve's shoes, or cowl, or shield, or whatever it is.
A word of advice then. Stay the hell out of my way.
And on a side note, his partner really just feels like a ripoff of Sam. And considering how John was supposed to be the Captain America that the government could control, it's really no wonder why they wanted a partner next to him that they could also control as well. We also get a proper introduction to the Flag Smashers, and I actually found myself a bit sympathetic towards them and their cause. Thinking things were better during the blip because countries stopped being so nationalistic and started catering to the citizens of the world as if they really were just one people.
One word.
One people!
And then to have that contrasted with not just their return to the old ways when everyone came back, but also displacing those who had survived just to accommodate everyone that had returned.
The GRC care more about the people who came back than the ones who never left.
Idealistically, I actually think the Flag Smashers are in the right, a sort of band of global Robin Hood vigilantes. I get why they have an underground network of supporters backing them, and had they done a few things differently, I don't think they would have been the antagonist of the story. But then in the third episode, they had to go and blow up a building, so obviously they have to be the bad guys. Although I still do have a sliver of hope for their redemption. I mean, if the Winter Soldier could be pardoned, then anything's possible.
You had 6 months worth of supplies just sat there in that building. Don't you understand? We're fighting for our lives.
And speaking of the third episode, that one was the best one yet. There are no over-the-top action sequences, and it was really doing the legwork of the show. But it was honestly what the show is supposed to be. Sam and Bucky butting heads as they work to unravel this global mystery with old friends and even enemies popping up along the way.
Look, let me just walk you through a hypothetical. Can I walk you through a hypothetical?
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
And this episode gave us a ton of callbacks to Civil War, which is fitting as that's where this relationship first started. First off, Zemo. After the trailer, I was fully expecting him to be a full-blown villain. At the very least, some sort of antagonist for our main characters. Either way, I don't think anyone was expecting his return as part of the good guys team. I was actually wondering if he was truly on the right side of things this time around. But then of course, I had to be reminded that Zemo's conviction to his cause means he won't hesitate to pull a trigger. And even so, I'm really liking this portrayal of the character a lot more so than I did in Civil War. He doesn't always make the best choices, and he's gonna continue to do what he himself believes is right. But everyone seems to understand those choices and may even be willing to live with them as part of the bigger picture. He reminds me just a little bit of Loki. He starts off as a villain and continues to do somewhat villainous things, but our main characters learn to accept those shortcomings in order to fulfill the larger agenda. And speaking of returning characters, we find Sharon Carter skulking around Madripoor during her exile from the States. And she's made a new life running this art gallery club thing, or as she puts it, straight hustling.
Looks like breaking all those laws is treating you well.
Well, at some point I thought if I had to hustle, I might as well enjoy the life of a real hustler.
I like Sharon in this new gray area that she's operating in. And the last we see of her when she's getting into her car was definitely a bit shady. But I'm betting on that coming back around and her still being on the right side of things when it does. It's Sharon Carter, so she can't be the bad guy. She could simply be undercover or working an assignment to find her own way back home. Either way, I think this is where Sharon Carter thrives. Now, the Madripoor scenes seemed familiar to me and actually remind me of the casino scenes in Black Panther. The first 3 episodes of the show actually threw out a lot of Wakanda references, and then we actually get this series tie-in to Wakanda with one of the Dora Milaje showing up at the end of episode 3 for Zemo. Starting with the second episode, this show has gone really heavy on the Isaiah Bradley storyline and all of the injustice that went on behind the scenes of making Steve the symbol for justice.
So you're telling me that there was a black super soldier decades ago and nobody knew about it?
And considering how the original runnings of the Captain America comics were super in tune to the issues of the world they were being published into, it only feels right that this show takes a moment to be honest about the world we live in, both then and now. And simultaneously, it somehow makes this show feel the most grounded and realistic of all the Marvel stories. Like if we actually did have superheroes in our world, this would be the very real collateral damage that would have happened along the way. But what are your thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier season so far? Let me know in the comments below. New episodes air Fridays on Disney+. But before you go and watch that, please do be sure to give this a like and subscribe for more commentary like this. We've got new content coming out every week. But until next time, have a great day and don't forget to watch a great movie. Bye.
I don't like how casual you're being about this. It's unnatural.